Okay, so guys, I'm gonna continue and I'm gonna work out problem number 4. Now, problem number 4 says find the complement and supplement of an angle that has a measure of 150 degrees. Okay, so first of all, you gotta know that complementary, and hopefully I spelled it right, is two angles whose sum add to 90 degrees. Supplementary is two angles whose sum add to 180. But it's talking about two angles. Okay, so if the problem gives you 150 degrees for one angle, this is the measure of angle 150 degrees plus what other one would give me 180 degrees. So for the supplement, what number am I missing here that gives me 180? You have 150, 30. Something missing, 30. So 30 degrees. So the supplement of angle 150 is 30 degrees. And that's how you get your supplement. Okay? Now the tricky part, again, consists of the measurement of angle 150 degrees should give me 90. Okay, so what would be the complement? Okay. What number would give me from 150 degrees? What number would give me 90? So you're going to subtract. So minus 60 degrees. A complement would be minus 60 degrees. Okay? So that two angles add up to 90 degrees. Okay? So that's how you would solve problem number 4. And there you have it. Refer back to the original. The problem here, guys, is that for complementary and supplementary, you got to understand that it's a combination of two angles. Okay, the two angles are going to give you either the sum of 180 or the sum of 90. Okay. All right, moving on to problem number 5. Okay, problem number 5 reads, the large circle has a diameter of 80 feet and a smaller circle has a diameter of 4 feet. In the particular example, they give you something that looks like this. Okay, I really don't like to see it like that because it can get kind of confusing. So I'm going to just go ahead and draw another 2 different circles outside of each other. And I know that they're not the best circles in the world, but you get the point. Okay, and it says that the larger circle has a diameter of 80 feet and the smaller circle has a diameter of 4 feet. What is the difference in area? So I'm looking for difference in area. So I'm looking for area. I'm not looking for circumference. And I know that the area equals pi times radius times radius. On the other side, pi area equals pi times radius times radius. And I write it like that because a lot of people get confused when they see the formula that looks like this, because they want to multiply it times 2. And it doesn't mean multiply times 2. It means you multiply it times itself twice. Okay, so I just went ahead and drifted away from teaching my kids like that, and I just use it like this. Okay, but I want you to understand that it really means the same thing. Okay, so now I'm just going to follow my steps. Here, what is my radius? If this is my diameter, my radius is half of that. So here it would be 2 feet. Here it would be 40 feet. Okay, remember, a radius is just the halfway point. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the first one. Area equals pi times the radius, which is 2, times the radius, which is 2. Okay, it just turned out that 2 times 2 gives me 4, but not in, you'll see right away that not in this case. Okay, so let me just follow it real quick. Area equals 3.14 times 4. Area equals, what is the result of that? Okay, it would be 12.56. Okay, so that is the area of this circle. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the area of this one. Area equals 3.14 times the radius. Area equals 3.14. 40 times 40 is going to give me 1600. And now I'm going to multiply that times pi. Which is 5024. Okay, let me make sure I write my units on both of them. Now, it's asking for the difference in area. We know that the word difference should prompt us to what? What order of operations? It's going to prompt us to subtract. So it would be 5024 minus 12.56. And we end up with 5011.44. And there is our answer. Okay, so again, you always have the question in mind. You always want to keep it somewhere where you can refer back to it. I guarantee you guys in the STAR test, this is going to be your answer A, this is going to be your answer B, this is going to be your answer C, and just the way that, you know, just to make sure that you're checking back with the original question. Okay, so that's how you solve problem number 5. Okay, so I'm going to continue by working on problem number 6. Okay, problem number 6 says the volleyball team won 83 and 1/3% of their games last season. So a volleyball team won 83 and 1/3% of their games. If they played 18 games, how many did they lose? Okay, well, if the volleyball team won 83 and 1/3%, how many did they lose? How much percent did they lose? So obviously I'm going to subtract here 100 minus 83 and 1/3. But just to make things simpler, guys, anytime I see percent like this, I just go ahead and turn it into decimal. Okay, because it turns out to be a lot easier to work with. Okay, so you go ahead and subtract those two. So 100 minus 83.3 should give me what?
64 sevenths.
16.7. So therefore, they lost 16.7% of their games. So now I gotta find out what 16.7% is of 18 games. So there's several ways I could do this, and I'm gonna show you both ways. The first way is through decimal. This is for percent. What is 16.7% as a decimal? As not as a percent, but as a true decimal. So I'm gonna divide it by 100. So it would be 0.167 times 18. Okay, this is the word of. So 1.67 of 18, and that's gonna give you an answer. Okay, so go ahead and multiply that real quick on your own. And see, the answer is 3.006. Okay, which is equivalent to 3 games. So if they lost 16.7% of the time, they lost 3 games. So that means that they won 15. Okay, so 3 games lost, and that would be my answer. Now, like I said, I'm going to show you different ways. The second way I'm going to show you is through a proportion. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this as a proportion. Now I know that in a proportion my setup looks like this. I've been teaching you that for the past year. Okay, and I know that if I'm going to deal with percent, okay, I know it's going to be out of 100. Okay, so I have 16.7%, and I want to know how much that is out of 100 in comparison to a total of 18 games. Now the total of games goes down here. The number of games that they lost, comparing it to percent, goes right here. But since I don't know it, I put an X. I'm gonna go ahead and do my heart method. I have 100x. 18 times 16.7. Go ahead and multiply that on your own and tell me what you get. So the answer is 300.6, and then you just bring down the x because I haven't done anything to that side. And then how do I solve for x? I go ahead and divide it by 100. That turns into 1. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. X equals 3.006, which relates back to that same particular answer. Okay, so they games, and the reason why I rounded it was because you can lose 0.06 of a game. Okay, so that is how you solve for percent, 3 ways. Okay, but I want you to notice, guys, that in my diagram, not only did I put how many they won, but the complement of that, which is the opposite of that, is 16.7. I always gotta have two ideas whose sum add up to 1, whose sum add up to 100%, or whose sum add up to one whole. Okay, so I gotta make sure I identify both of them so that you don't get confused. This particular question asks you to see how many they lost, or how many games they actually lost. Okay, so that's how you solve for problem number 6.